Now, let the show begin. Hey, welcome to the Multiverse Nerd Podcast, my fellow multiverse nerds. I am your host, Terry, from Nerd Council Interviews on TikTok, and I have my wonderful co-host, the one and only Multiverse Shaggy. So, Shaggy, it's episode 5. Did you ever think we'd get to episode 5?
Well, I thought we were already be episode 5.5 now, but I mean,
Can I need a sandwich?
like, come on, man, you can't talk about sandwiches around me.
So, Shaggy, today's subject is science.
Yep.
So, I know quite a bit about science. I am a science nerd myself. Love science. Always been into astronomy, astrophysics, physics itself, biology, chemistry. So we're gonna just go right into it, and we're gonna start off with astrology right now. Have you been following the news lately?
Not my, back when I was like probably 16 or 17, but not.
Okay. Well, here in recent news, for people who don't know, and give you an idea of what's going on, there is an asteroid heading right for Earth.
The movies call it every time.
And when, as a millennial, when I heard that, my first thought was, okay, are we going to call Ben Affleck and Bruce Willis to go drill a hole in it? And then I started listening to like Star Talk and Kyle Hill and like a lot of like started doing research on it with the NASA website, nasa.gov. I'm not worried about it now. I let it come and hit us because according to NASA and according to the astrophysicists of the world, Neil deGrasse Tyson, if you listen to a Star Talk podcast, which is a wonderful, like people who want to get into science and astrophysics and nuclear physics and all that stuff, go listen to Star Talk. I know I'm talking about another podcast on a podcast, but go listen to them because they tell you it's maybe 15 meters, about 90 meters across. It's slow moving, and the way it's tracking, and if they said if they'll get better like aspects of it. That right now on their scale of impact and the from 0 to Armageddon's, I can't. It's some Fosse level thing that they said. I'll have to look it back up, or you guys can look it up for yourself. It's a scale of 1 to 9. 9 being the worst, and that's catastrophic event, like dinosaur kind of catastrophic. It's on a scale of 3 right now.
Okay, and that's one question. Like, so a lot of people, especially with talking about the solar system, Jupiter. I believe it was Jupiter, the one that takes it. Isn't it Jupiter that takes in most of those asteroids?
Yeah, Jupiter usually takes in most of the asteroids just because of its size. But this one is already in the path. It's already it's flown by us a couple of times already. And the track, that the way it's going now, they're noticing that the track, if it keeps going the way it's going, it's going to end up eventually hitting us. It's in 2032 that's supposed to hit us. Now, the one I'm worried about is
expires.
Huh?
That's when my license expires. I'm not going to be able to drive away. Dang
it. That's not the one I'm really worried about. I'm worried about Andromeda, which is supposed to like get like it's supposed to literally fly in between the moon and Earth itself.
But how big is it? Is it as big as the moon? Smaller than the moon? What are we talking?
They say it's about the same size as Long Island, New York.
Oh, I've been in. Oh wow.
Yeah, the
You'll be
thing's
able to
huge.
see that. You will be able to see that. That's the thing.
That's actually what they said. They said that you would be actually if the Earth doesn't take its like if the Earth of the Earth's gravity doesn't grab onto it, it should fly perfectly in between the Earth and the Moon, and you should be able to see it fly with like you can actually get up close versions of it just using binoculars, not a
Well,
telescope, but binoculars.
but can we go into a hypothetical?
Yeah, let's go into a hypothetical.
So the idea I have is you got to take in the account of speed and you got to take in the account of where the knots it's going at, right?
Yes.
But you also got to take into the fact the parallel poles between the moon and Earth itself between both gravities.
Yeah.
So hypothetical, wouldn't that counterbalance and cause it to go in between either or?
It
The
could
parallel,
honestly.
because it depends. Because if it's going slow enough, I could see that happening. But I mean, we're talking about magnetic poles here. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to get. I'm going to ask you this because you know more about it than I do. I don't know much about when it comes to these things. That's
Yeah.
why I'm asking you what would those implicate if that was a scenario?
Okay. So, in a hypothetical scenario of like it perfectly passing in between both of them, the Earth's gravity is higher than the moon's gravity because the moon doesn't have that magnetic field rotation that it does. It's literally it rotates around the Earth, but it doesn't rotate.
Yeah,
So it doesn't have that high of gravity. So it's kind of landlocked into the Earth where it's at, like face wise, because of the gravity of Earth. So if the Earth's gravity grabs a hold of the asteroid, it can literally be like a freaking satellite and start falling down. Now, depending on where it is in that when it starts to fall down, if it's still further away, like more closer to the moon, of like being, hey, it's further away towards the moon and Earth's gravity starts to connect it, it could actually do what's called a slingshot, where it basically just starts to rotate around the Earth and gain speed and go a different direction. But if it's closer to Earth and its gravity of the Earth connects, it could actually start to slowly orbit us and eventually fall into us.
I have something just popped in my head. As it's passing between moon and the Earth,
Mhm.
wouldn't that affect sea levels? Or
Yes,
like,
actually, they did say
uh,
that.
so how bad would it be? Are we talking this could cause weather conditions to change, climate?
They
What are we talking?
actually said because of the size and
I think
because
that's a
of
good question. I think
yeah,
that's
that
a
is a really good question. And honestly, and this is hypothetical. Like I don't know. Like I'm not an
you
astrophysicist.
don't. It's not like you have the actual stats in front of you. You're just going off what you heard.
Yeah, I'm going off of what like research that I've looked at and scientific journals and listening to other scientists talk about it in like podcasts, seminars, online classes, and everything. If they did say if it's like that perfect parallelness in between the moon and the Earth, due to its size, it will not affect sea levels drastically, but it
But it,
will affect some. Like it will basically make the high tide a little bit higher and the low tide a little bit lower during its pass through. Now, where on Earth that will happen depends on the position of the Earth during that time frame. So, because it's supposed to take, they said anywhere from 3 to 4 days to completely pass by us if it does not get caught by the Earth's gravity.
so basically,
Um,
3 or 4 days, you're just going to be outside your window, like, hi, bye.
yeah, and be like, "Hey, you look like you're falling."
Nope, I'll go back inside.
Now, see the wonderful thing though about this whole these asteroids coming within close range of us, it actually gives the scientists at NASA and the Johnson Space Center and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, um, they get to test out this new system called the DART system. They've already tested it once in between for they had these two asteroids that they shot this DART system at. And it's basically what it does is it's a solid piece of metal. I can't remember what metal they used, but it's a solid piece of metal that they just basically shot straight at it to nudge it. And they wanted to, like, they watched the rotate, like, they did a rotation. There was these two asteroids rotating each other, and they shot it at one and watched it slowly fly away because of that dart system. This is basically like they said it's just a theory, but they put it in practicality because of what they're doing.
They did a whole diagram. They did a whole computer system on this.
No,
So they
this
didn't
is
actually
actual
do.
like this is an actual like they did a theory, put it into practicality, made an actual working dart system, and then tested the dart system itself already,
So
and
kind of
they
like a
figured
rail
it
gun, a
works.
slingshot.
Huh?
Kind of like a rail gun, but a slingshot using the Earth's gravity.
Yes, basically. They basically it's like using they just basically shot a piece of metal at it and nudged it as much as they could with
And they
enough
launched
kinetic
Earth.
force.
Where they launch it? I'm not
They
sure.
launched it from Camp Cap Canaveral out of Florida. And then they launched it, it gained slingshot speed, and basically they have a jet propulsion towards it, made it gain momentum, which that is all part of the E equals MC squared um, movement. It's energy, mass, and I can't remember what C stands for now. Shit. But it's basically taking kinetic force and just basically, it's like taking a fist and hitting a punching bag and watching the punching bag move.
Yeah.
So that's
And,
kinetic force. So they took
and going
kinetic
on,
force and made it move.
yep. And going on to that whole slingshot theory, that also goes into another thing I wanted to bring up on the episode was terraforming Mars.
Terraforming Mars.
And
Honestly,
because no, I just want to say because they've already talked about, and actually there was a whole movie on this. They did the whole slingshot theory, and that's how they were able to carry themselves all
yes.
the way there to save.
The Martian with
Uh,
Matt Damon.
yep.
Yeah. They actually that was based on scientific fact. They had like they a couple of the actors that you actually see in there are NASA scientists, and they actually did it. Um, they gave to technical standpoints of like, hey, this is what it would happen. This is how it needs to happen. Like the Donald Glover, uh, aka Child Gambino, um, when he was showing the scene, basically the rocket just slingshotting back to Mars to get to get Matt Damon's character, that was actually something that I was actually is actually talked about on how to get us to Mars now. And they designed Kyle Hill actually brought it up in his little YouTube channel. Kyle Hill brought it up, and it's actually a really cool design. They actually came out with their very first, and it's a prototype of a nuclear fuel rocket. So it's 6 times faster than the Saturn rockets that we use now to launch satellites and everything else. It's even faster than the ones at SpaceX.
So just
It's
as a
six
joke,
times faster.
so just as the joke, what you're saying is we're launching submarines at Mars.
Pretty much.
We're launching, and by the way, this goes into my dad who served on submarines. We're launching my father to Mars.
Yes. Basically, what it is it's they said, according to Kyle Hill, who is actually nuclear physics, he works with the White House. He has like, if you guys want to know, like, history of nuclear fallouts and nuclear disasters and all kinds of like nuclear energy aspects, go watch his Half-Life series on Kyle Hill's podcast, Kyle Hill's YouTube channel. Goes into great details. I have more of appreciation now. I was scared of nuclear energy, always thinking, shit, one day this shit's gonna blow up on us and we're all gonna die. And yeah. But because of him, I have a better understanding of nuclear energy and nuclear reactors. And they're actually in Denmark. They're actually testing a molten salt nuclear reactor that has unlimited fuel because it keeps creating its own fuel. But it does not cause, if it fails, it does not cause a nuclear reaction. It basically solidifies into one big giant rock. But the only problem is it's when you're working with nuclear salt, which it's, believe it or not, it's named after Thor. It's called thorsium. It basically, it's the first beginning element of uranium.
So if it's called so if it's called that, does it have like electric properties or?
I don't know if it has electrical properties, but basically it's self nuclear fission.
Yeah, that's
So
more my.
it's,
I have no idea about that. That would be a question for my father because you would actually enjoy that. He actually was chief petty officer, nuclear engineer. He did that stuff. He knows all about it.
yeah,
So he'd be able to tell you more about it, not me.
yeah.
Actually, that's one thing I wanted to bring up. After you're done talking about that, is a story that where you had an opportunity to work or meet someone from space or who did stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We can talk about that here in a second. With the nuclear energy and everything, this rocket is supposed to take our 6 month period of traveling to Mars and cutting it down to 45 days.
Really?
Yeah. Like it's supposed to basically, so like normal rockets now um, use liquid helium and liquid oxygen to basically create, or no, not in the liquid helium, it's liquid hydrogen. Hydrogen and liquid oxygen combine to make a combustion fuel and make it spark and it go boom. But that is only good for it has a very finite fuel reserve. But with this nuclear rocket that they're designing and trying to get it up and running and everything else, that would be an unlimited supply of energy.
Hmm.
So it's basically they can keep that booster going longer. And see, while in space, there is no combustion, there's no fire or anything. So it's using air to, like, whenever you see the shuttle and you see those little spurts of, like, looks like water spray almost in like the movies and all that, it's actually using air to move, or basically compressed air to move a certain way. With the nuclear rocket, it's basically taking all those particles from the nuclear fission and pushing it out, and that's going to have something to push against itself. So basically, keeping it going.
And I will say that's pretty cool, but the videos of ro- uh, testing rockets, that's just
I've had the you know that one where they just recently caught the SpaceX rocket, and it looks like they
oh
caught
yeah,
that rocket
and I
and
have
they
a
caught
story
it.
on done. Yeah.
I was actually there. I got to see that live and in person. I actually got to see them because I happened to be down in Brownsville, where SpaceX headquarters here in Texas, because SpaceX headquarters is in Texas. It's
Yep.
in Brownsville, Texas. I happened to be passing by as a truck driver. I happened to be passing by, and I see a bunch of cars stopped on the side of the road, and I'm like, okay, something up ahead probably. So I pulled off the side of the road and I'm asking somebody, hey, what's going on? He goes, oh, look up. I look up and I see the rocket falling. And I'm like, that
Cool.
is fucking cool. And then I see the booster come on, and like where we're standing, you can actually see the tower, like the top of the tower on the dune we were standing at. Because we all ran up to the tower, like ran up the dune to go see this, and you can see the tower where it was, and it just basically you see it go down and caught, and I was like, cool, back to work.
Um, and that's one thing I wanted to bring up about the opportunities to meet someone and who did that or worked. And my dad actually had an offer at one point. They ended up redacting it because they closed interviews, but he almost had the chance to work for SpaceX.
That's pretty damn cool, honestly. Um,
That was he just got
what?
out of college at the time, so it would probably been 2017, 2018, and he almost had the chance to do it.
Yeah, that would have been hell, dude. You would have been down in Brownsville. There's been times I've been. We could have met up in Brownsville then.
Yeah.
uh, when it comes to like meeting like famous astronauts and everything else, during high school, I was in ROTC, and our ROTC was an Air Force ROTC, and I was part of the science club for ROTC, and the science club got the chance um, to go down to the Johnson Space Center um, for a private tour, for a 2 day private tour, and I actually got to go, like, get to go into the shuttle itself, actually get to go into, actually get to watch a live launching of a rocket, like every step they do, the no go, the go, the no goes. Actually getting to watch it from like the big screen of the Johnson Space Center. Actually getting to watch it. But the really cool thing was I actually got to meet Buzz Aldrin.
Really?
We all got to meet Buzz Aldrin because he
How old
came
were
in.
you at the time?
I believe I was 16 years old.
Man, what I would do to live in your era.
uh, he was actually there. Uh, he got to like we actually got to talk with him. Um, I even I even had to hit one of my friends because he asked the stupidest question, and he goes, "I got to give it to Buzz Aldrin because he was actually very um nice about it. Me, I wasn't nice about it. I went, dude, shut the fuck up."
All right,
um
I'm gonna pause you right there just to clarify. Please don't say it. He said it in a dumb voice too.
no, he straight up asked, my friend straight up asked, "Hey, what studio did you fake the moon landing in?"
Oh hell no! Oh no! Oh no
Yeah.
no 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 no
Oh,
no!
this is
Not
how
one of
dumb
those.
my friend is. This is like I love
No
my friend to
no,
death.
that's
I
one
love
of the conspiracy theories though.
Yeah, and it really is. But it's not a conspiracy theory. It actually did happen. They
Yeah.
actually have evidence that you can actually do, and it's actually really cool. You can shoot a high power density laser at the moon at the Sea of Tranquility. You can shoot it because they put a mirror on there to reflect lasers back. How else would that mirror get there?
How in the freak? Unless a freaking. All right, oh, con. Okay, just my brain working. They could do it with a satellite, but I mean it's highly unlikely.
At
But
that time and frame, they could not do it. They did not have the technology to put a satellite basically to land and put a mirror there. There's
no,
no
I'm not talking
way.
about that. I'm talking about a space satellite where it's just floating and it's in the right position. I'm saying that theory,
No,
but
because
like I
with this high density laser, you time it on like the distance and how long it takes that laser to get back.
and how long? How can you give me an estimate how long that took?
If I remember correctly, it's supposed to take 3 seconds from the point of fire to the point of return. It's supposed to take 3 seconds.
And how long? And you can visibly see it, or you have to see it like with
No,
special. But
it's all done like you have to use a computer and registry, and it has like these laser sensors. But yeah, you can actually shoot a laser. Like they've actually done it to prove people. If you go to the Johnson Space Center, they actually have that laser set up. It costs a little bit to actually do it, but they actually do have the laser set up that tracks the moon all the time when
so
it's
I'm
in our
guessing
night sky.
so it has to be in a certain position to shoot that laser. Basically.
Yes, it has to be in a certain position to shoot the laser, and you can actually. They've done it in California. They've done it all over the world, and it just shoots the laser, comes back, and you can time it. And the time of travel and the time of distance measures out to be exactly from the point of the laser to the point on the moon to the back is 3 seconds, and it those 3 seconds at the speed of light is the time that it would take for the moon, like the distance between the Earth and the moon. So there's no way that we could fake that.
Yep.
No. So now when we're going into more of like the biology and chemistry of like science, biology is this like study of like plants, matter. You have marine biology, you have biology for humans, amphibious. Talking about biology and with like the study of like androids and everything else, we've seen that with Elon Musk's new robots.
Mhm.
I foresee a future of not just a betterment of humanity, but a better of medical humanity. Because with the design of like, I think about it like this: we're looking at a bicentennial man kind of movie. You know, the one with Robin Williams where he plays a robot and then eventually replaces all of his parts with mechanical human parts.
Yep.
I foresee that happening. I actually do. Uh,
By the way, when you were saying that about the robots, and I was thinking about them going on the moon, and then it reminded me of freaking Age of Extinction, Transformers, and it just kind of goes into like all these movies. And then another thing that I've actually been fascinated about this, and I would like to add this into this episode: ocean. The minerals that we have never discovered, that are the deep parts of the ocean that we've never discovered yet.
dude,
And
honestly,
I thought about it, and it's like, what if there's stronger material, the strong like how they found transformium in Transformers: Age of Extinction.
yeah,
That's kind of like the different types of minerals that we haven't even been able to put on the periodic table yet. That's
yeah,
the
and
type of minerals that I'm like that kind of pop in my head. What if we find something that like can automatically turn into something instead of building it manufacturing? It can
uh,
automatically be programmed to do that.
yeah,
That
and it's honestly looking that way because new elements are always found and they're tested and they're. It seems like it comes from another element. It starts out from another element, just like cesium. Cesium was a byproduct of uranium plutonium. Um, what a lot of people don't realize is we deal with cesium every day. Anytime you get an X-ray, you're getting shot by cesium. Why
is
do you
that
think they
bad?
put it? Why do you think they put like whenever you get X-rays, like in the like if you're not getting a chest ray on your chest, they put a lead
Yes.
that lead vest on you is because that's cesium radiation in a small, very small dosage, a very small dosage. It's cesium 23. It's also known as blue death.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that name. I've
It's
heard its name.
because it's it's so radioactive hot that when it's at night and you actually look at cesium 23, it radiates blue. It's
Okay.
so hot, radioactively hot, that it radiates blue. There was actually they in Russia, a village basically died from cesium 23 because these guys, like these two local people, found a nuclear stash during cold, like during the time of the nuclear arms race and everything. They found a stash of cesium 23 during the trek in Siberia. Um, that they were looking for something to keep them warm, but they noticed that this one spot of snow was melted away, and there's this metal container right there in the middle of that, like that patch, and it was radiating off heat.
Yep.
And they took it back to their village. They opened it up, put it in other containers, and spread it all over their village. Basically, ultimately killing damn near everybody in the village before
Yeah.
Russia found out. And
Yeah.
that's why it's called the Blue Death because it
I just
radiates.
and that kind of like, I hate to. I'm sorry if I interrupted you, but like that
No,
kind of
you're good.
like, my dad served during that time. In 80, he started in 87, right out of high school.
Yeah, I was
So
only two.
Yeah, just to think about that, it's just it's surprising to me. And another thing that I've been thinking about is that I ended up finding out the other day, Minecraft. You know Minecraft? They use
Yeah,
actual someone actually was like, so Minecraft is known for using gold, iron, like actual elements.
yeah,
They were trying to figure out what is netherite. And I found this interesting. And what it's actually made out of, it's made out of gold and it's made out of or titanium or platinum or but platinum, I think so, platinum or titanium. And
yeah,
basically, those two mixtures make netherite. So technically, we could have netherite.
yeah. Technically,
Now,
yes. Uh,
and I find that
um,
cool. Like a lot of video games, for both astrology, for both metals, for all the everything, a lot of games actually go off of that.
yes. A lot of games actually do use like Skyrim. They use copper, bronze, steel ignet, and everything else. Wood to build certain things and build like different elements within inside the system. Um, just
And,
like within Helldivers 2, the video game Helldivers 2.
mhm.
Um, they use terminite to power their ships. Well, terminite is from the bugs on Helldivers 2. They use that. That could actually be a real element in one point, and we just don't know it. There is so many elements out there. Like prime example, out there in space, there is actually a nebula, which is a gas cloud. All right, it's a gas cloud that is basically, if you compress that gas cloud into a container and you compress it hard enough, it will turn into alcohol. Now, granted, it is millions of light years away from us, and they
Wait, hold on.
discovered
I'm
it
gonna do something.
because
I'm gonna do something. I need to step out. Just give me a second. Alcohol? What the heck?
yeah, they
I'm sorry, I had to do that.
no, and it's actually when I heard that, I was absolutely flabbergasted, and then I was scrolling through TikTok, and TikTok creator named Finier, they also know him as the American Wizard.
Hmm.
He did a TikTok about it and how he was like he was portraying a United States Marine going to NASA, going, how much would it cost me to get to
Wait,
the
portraying as in stolen valor or like?
no, he is like as an actor, like you would
Okay.
portray a Marine. He's actually not from the United States at all, but he loves America. He
That's
loves
a
America.
bad idea. That's a bad idea. I understand he's an actor. I understand if it was for a movie, but if it ain't, that's a bad idea.
No, he's an actor and everything on TikTok. He's known as the American Wizard, but he was portraying a like a United States Marine going to NASA, going, how much would it cost for you to send me to the the alcohol cloud? And I started busting out laughing
I'm
because
sorry. All right. I just want to make this because I know you're Nordic blood, correct? You Nordic blood? Or
yes,
yeah, yes. I actually wanted to say that is a true Nordic's death. And like honestly, I'm sorry. Maybe that's where Valhalla is. Maybe that's where
that could
Valhalla is.
be it. That could be
Hey,
Valhalla.
you really think about it. All right. You need to send me pictures of that nebula because I
Oh yeah,
need to see this. I need to see it because like I'm actually thinking about this now. What if like so you know how nebulas give off like a starry look, so it looks like they have stars in them,
That's
correct?
because that's where
Stars are
uh
born, correct?
yes, they're actually born inside nebulas because it's the gases like slowly starting to spin and compress in itself and start causing what's called nuclear fusion. There's fusion and fission.
Yep.
It's FUSSION and then FISSION. There's two different ones. Nuclear fission is basically what happens in a nuclear bomb.
Okay.
It's the separation of nuclear products, chain reaction of nuclear reactions basically going off.
Splitting,
Nuclear fusion
atoms,
is basically elements coming together.
combining.
Yeah, it's kind of like mining itself, and it basically starts spinning, creates a molten core, and then starts gaining more mass and everything else.
And I wanted to say, because I was thinking about it, just hypothetical. What if, so you know how like Nords, they went up, they did go off the stars, and some of them kind of formed what they believed in, right?
Yeah,
What if it was that nebula all along? If you really think about it, it is possible to see as if it was just a star system, but it's actually a nebula.
yeah.
That actually would make sense, would it?
It would, just because a lot of people don't realize this. I mean, unless you study astrology or study astronomy in general, um, 90% of the stars you see in the night sky are already dead.
Yep. It should because
They,
light, it takes light longer, especially even if it's light speed, it takes it longer to reach Earth than it because it could already be dissipated by now, and it's literally just us seeing the final light of it.
yes,
That's about. And by the way, like other stars, where like I forgot what they freaking called it. It's basically you could probably tell me what it is. It's like a blue looking thing, star or sun or I forgot what it
a
is.
quasar.
It's, yeah, where it just goes like this, but it takes the light so long to get there. It looks like it's just you, and then another few years later, you, and
Yeah,
that's all it looks
uh,
like.
yeah. I believe it's called a quasar. Um, a quasar, or but there's stars out there. Just like, okay, prime example. 30 million years ago, well before humans even came into existence, 30 million years ago, two black holes collided with each other. Black holes are the definition of a ripple in time and space.
Yep.
Okay. Those two collided and caused this massive wave. Okay. Fast forward many, like millions of years. Birth of Albert Einstein. The man says that there is ripples and waves in time and space. Theory of relativity. He burst theory of relativity. Fast forward to, I believe it was either 2012 or 2013. They designed a test to see the ripples in space. The moment they fired up that machine, they detected the wave from 30 million years ago.
How is that technologically possible? The probability of
because
catching something.
because you got to imagine those, it was so far away from us and so in another galaxy so far, like it was like hella far away from us that it
Oh,
took
so that's
that.
how Star Wars ended.
Yeah, pretty much. In a
Hey!
galaxy far, far away.
Far away a long time ago. Hey, and
So we
and
detected the Death Star blowing up.
yep.
Even though if you want to
And
see, you want to hear something really
I just
funny.
catched on what you meant. I just catched on what you meant with that. Go ahead.
Uh, but yeah, it was so far away that they actually detected like the waves because the way they did it, it's supposed to the lasers were crossing each other, and if there was actual waves of like the gravitational waves, um, the gravitational waves from outer space would cause those lasers to ripple, and it did. So we
Yep.
understood there is gravitational waves. Something that happened 30 million years ago, thought of by Albert Einstein, detected by our generation. Talk
And
about
that's just
like,
like, yeah, talk about nostalgia there. Like that's I am, and for any of the viewers, like I'm learning new things and he learns new things from me, and that's what this podcast is about. Between both of our ages, we're both 20 years apart, and it's just astonishing to me as a young person myself to be able to know that we've been able to go so far within 100, just within the last 100 years, we've made so much big breakthroughs. I mean, we've had in the past 500 good, actually, we've made breakthroughs so long, and actually going
we're
in the
still making
history,
breakthroughs,
and still in
honestly.
the history, the one thing that I've always wondered, because I actually watched the video today, is, and that will probably be another episode because whatever, is history going into the building of the pyramids, the technology they had back then.
Oh yeah,
How did they
we'll
make it?
definitely talk history. We'll talk military history. We'll talk.
Lost technologies because like that
Yeah.
they when I was like I think I just turned 18, I ended up seeing a documentary of what they thought. They found it. I forgot it was in Egypt. I forgot what they found it. I would have to go back and search it up. They found what they thought would look like a smartphone from that era. I am not kidding.
Are you
It
talking
was
like? Were
based.
you watching Ancient Aliens on the History Channel?
No, this is something my dad pulled up on actual history artifacts,
Ooh, definitely
and
have to look into
my
that.
and I saw this, and I was like, "There's no way," but it symbolized a phone. Literally, it was kind of just like what a phone would look like today. It wasn't like your Nokia as a flip phone. It was straight up flat, as far as I remember. By the way, this is a few years ago, and I'm gonna have to look back into it to look at that. But that's what I find interesting is all the latest technologies, all this stuff that has been lost over centuries that we're, but at the same time, we've overcome that. We've
Yeah,
we've made so much breakthroughs already, and that's where it goes into my whole point about bringing it up is what if we finally found that lost technology and added it to the technology we had?
honestly,
That
I
would
mean that
be
could actually be like
ordinate.
a lot of like you got to look at the invention of the wheel. You get the
Hmm.
wheel, you get the car, you get the cart, you get the chariot, you get the chariot becomes the car becomes
Well, you got the wagon,
well,
technically.
yeah, the
Yeah.
wagon cart, same thing. Uh, yeah, you're gonna get that, and then you get a car because of the wheel, and then because of the car, people start looking at the sky. They invent the plane gets invented. Then they start looking at the space and going, I want to go there. So they start inventing rockets. Rockets lead to space travel. Who knows what's going to happen now with space travel? Me,
And
honestly, I would not be looking at space.
oceans.
I would be looking at the ocean because the ocean is not fully, it has not been fully mapped. More than 70% of the earth is water.
Yeah,
And
and that's
this leads back to our beginning of the episode. This leads all back to the beginning of the episode. And why I said I was not concerned about the asteroid hitting us. They straight up said, because of the Earth being more than 70% of water, that there is a 90% chance.
oh, go ahead, continue. I'm just getting
There,
silver.
there is a 90% chance that that asteroid is going to land in the water.
And that's I'm just gonna say this. You were saying that, but what if it hit land and we went to the water? I was just gonna say Bioshock,
Bioshock.
and I was also gonna say Subnautica.
Yeah, we can go Subnautica.
But I'm also gonna tell you. So I was in JRTC also, but I
Yeah.
was in the Navy branch, like my father was, and I actually have a fear of deep unknown water.
You have
I
trypophobia.
love water. I love water. I do not like the fact that I can't see under my feet.
I believe it's called trypophobia.
Oh, I have two phobias actually. That, even though I love exploring. It trips me. I think it's cool, but it even trips me out in Minecraft. Man-made objects in water that have been sunken. That scares me.
That doesn't scare me. I've actually
No,
had
no,
the.
I'm talking about like the things that are. I can understand a ship. Oh, depending on how it broke apart, if it looks like a shark at the end, I'm gonna run away. But I don't want another mega. I don't, and that's one thing that. And like I said, if you guys, I want to ask you guys in the comments if you guys want a part two about this. If you guys want to hear us talk about oceans and go into more detail about that, that would be a fun episode.
Honestly, I believe that would be a great episode. Um,
But no, like I was saying, it was just especially like statues. And what about Atlantis? That'd be cool to find.
yeah,
What
honestly,
about
it would be. I've actually had the privilege. I don't. There's a little town here near where I live, way back when, and this town got moved because the U.S. Army Corps of Engineer was building a dam, and they were going to flood the area.
yep?
Well, they knew this well in advance. They built the other city well in advance. But the one cool thing is, a lot of the business owners wanted to keep everything that was in their business at the time of the flooding. They struck everything down in this city. That city still stands to this day under nine. I think it's over 400 feet deep of water. It still stands. You can actually scuba dive down to this city.
I can't.
I did.
No, you did not.
I've actually
You
gotten to
look.
see.
All right. Yeah, I have to say it. Do I have permission to say it?
Say it.
You lucky son of a bitch.
It was just I had to like it was one of my friends was going through scuba class. We went through scuba class together, and we went scuba diving in this one little lake because we always kept on hearing about the story, and like our fathers told us about it, our grandfathers told us about it, Even people from the town that they rebuilt to told us about this story. One of the bar owners that owned a bar down there literally bolted his Indian motorcycle, his car. He bolted all the bottles of beer, all the bottles of liquor. He bolted down all the seats.
Would all right, that is a question I do have. Would liquor still be good if we had it down in the budget if it was nicely sealed?
Yes, actually, it would be because it would be aged.
Oh,
If it's cold, if it's cold, if that water's cold enough way down there, but honestly, that far down, it's going to be cold because there's no sunlight
yeah.
touching it. So,
So, by the way, I want to ask because I've never seen stuff like that. How does something, an object, when you're going down there, so I'm guessing you've seen some of these places, how does it look when you're looking through? Like,
so
so you actually
here's the
you
like
went that deep, didn't you?
huh?
You went
We
that,
didn't go we didn't go all the way down
but you did see
to
the top of the town. You did see,
we did see the top of the town. We didn't go all the way down because you need a specialized oxygen combination of nitrogen and
it's,
oxygen.
it's actually, there's actually three types.
Yeah,
It's oxygen, nitrogen, and hydrogen.
I believe so too. But it's a specialized tank for going that far down.
Also, by the way, if anyone, if I'm wrong, please tell me.
Yeah, same here. If I'm ever wrong about something and you think I'm wrong, tell me and let me correct me. Correct us both, actually. If you think we're
And by
wrong,
the way, and by the way, I want to just tell the audience, this podcast, it's not us always being 100% correct. We're
yes,
here to learn from y'all. We're here if you guys want us to add something, if you guys want us to put something in, we will do that.
yeah.
As long as it's
If there's a
within
subject you want us to talk about, and you think we have no clue about, give us a subject to talk about, and we'll talk about it. We'll do the research.
Oh yeah, and if you guys want a part two, if you're like, hey, can you give us the information, give us something new to learn, and we'll do a part two from that video.
Yeah, we will definitely. So uh, coming to a close, we are definitely going to be doing more. We'll do an episode about the oceans because there's so much like scientifically factual and so hypothetical questions about the ocean itself and lakes and waters that that's a whole entire hour episode on its own. But Shaggy, uh, coming to a close. Thank you joining us again.
Yep.
Um, we all love you guys so much for joining us on this long process and our growing pains, as I like to call it, from episode one where we had an audio glitch
Oh,
to
that was and that's the thing on episode, I believe it was 4, we finally figured out. I can tell when we have an audio glitch, and that's
yep.
because it's coming. And so we ended up finding that out. So that's how we know.
We're still growing, we're still learning, and this is going to be a learning process. And thank you for joining us in this learning process. As we always close out, we wish you nothing but, and we always wish you nothing but peace,
Peace, love.
love, and happiness. And from now on,
Yep.
I'll rock on with you guys.
Rock on. He can do that because I don't have an iPhone. Yay!
I'll see you. We'll see you all on episode 6, where hopefully we'll have a very special guest with us.